much noise and disrespect, we find it every place. Troubles that we don't expect, and people in your face. Don't you wish you could make it change? Don't you wish you knew? Change. Larry, can you move this, please? Be the change. Whatever others do, all the power is in you. That's a guarantee. I'll do that again. You give me bad, I give it back, and round we go. It only gets worse, that's a guarantee. But before we have one more attack, here's what I need to know. Who will break the circle if not me? Be the change. You guys know it yet? Be the change. Whatever others do. Whatever others do. All the power. Power is in you. Take the lead. All you need if you want to change the world, be the change. It's the way we'll change the world, be the change. Thank you, guys. Breathe in, breathe out. Breathe in, breathe out. Breathe in, breathe out.
When I breathe in, I breathe in. I breathe, I breathe out love. When I breathe, I breathe in peace. When I breathe out. I breathe out love. When I breathe when I breathe in, breathe out. When I breathe out. Breathe out. When I breathe in, I breathe out. When I breathe, breathe in, breathe out. When I breathe, breathe in, I breathe out loud. Hush, hush, somebody's building my name. Hush, hush, somebody's calling my name. Hush, hush, somebody's calling my name. Oh my Lord, what shall I do? What shall I do? Sounds like freedom. Sounds like freedom. Somebody's calling my name. Sounds like freedom. Somebody's calling my name. Sounds like freedom. Somebody's calling my name. Oh my Lord, what shall I do? What shall I? Sounds like justice. Sounds like justice. Somebody's calling my name. Sounds like justice. Somebody's calling my name. Sounds like justice. Somebody's calling my name. Oh my Lord, what shall I do? What shall I do? Please rise in body and spirit and join me in singing number 1035. Freedom is coming. Oh freedom, oh freedom, oh freedom.
Lighter.
Freedom is coming. Oh freedom, oh freedom, oh freedom. Freedom is coming. Oh freedom, freedom is coming. Oh freedom, freedom is coming. Oh freedom, freedom is coming. Freedom, freedom is coming. Oh yes, I know. Oh yes, I know. Oh yes, I know. Freedom is coming. Oh yes, I know. Oh yes, I know. Oh yes, I know. Freedom is coming. Oh freedom. Please remain standing and join me in the words of our covenant found on our screen. Love is the spirit of this church, and service its call. Let this be our covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth and love, and to help one another. Whoever you are, whomever you love, wherever you are on your life journey, you are welcome here. Whoever you are, I am Michael Leuchtenberger, and I get to serve as the settled minister of this caring, curious, and ever-evolving congregation. It is good to be here. Whoever you are, whomever you love, whoever you are on your life journey, you are welcome here. You are welcome here. You are welcome here. Please be seated.
Welcome to worship. So good to be with you this morning in person and online. My name is Dory LeCount. I serve as the Family Engagement Coordinator of this music-loving and children-embracing congregation. We are here to support each other on our own and our shared journeys, centered in love, compassion, curiosity, courage, and joy. I am especially happy to welcome first-time and returning visitors. If you are a visitor, we hope you will find us a community eager to welcome you and respectful of the path which has brought you here this morning. Anyone wearing a colorful floral stole is glad to answer any questions you may have. There is written info in the pew folders and at the visitors table for you to take. For our online participants, it would be wonderful if you introduced yourself in the chat so we know you are here with us. Our church buildings are located on the traditional homelands of the Pennacook Abenaki people, past and present. We acknowledge and honor with gratitude the land and the people who have stewarded it for generations.
Craig, could you close that shade back there? That way we have a little better contrast here. For a complete listing of church events and news, check out our weekly e-bulletin or a copy of Parish Notes, our monthly newsletter. Here are a few highlights. Our offerings right after the service include a sermon dialogue with me in the parlor and on Zoom, a contemplative practice session in the chapel and on Zoom with Margaret Fletcher, you're right here, who will lead a body scan meditation grounded in moment-by-moment human awareness of our embeddedness in the living presence of the earth. A special urgent response meeting about the 5 bills that will try to reinstate the death penalty in New Hampshire will also take place. They will be heard this coming Wednesday. So it is urgent. Meet with Barbara Cashin in the Ken Thomas room. Where's Barbara? Right there, right there. And then kids ages 5 and up are encouraged to join our Young Explorers program, and younger kids are welcome to stay in our Rainbow Room nursery. And then at 12:30, all are invited to our free community luncheon in Fellowship Hall, hosted by the Third Thursday Covenant Group. Tuesday, all are welcome to join our weekly welcome table dinner at 6 o'clock, a free conversation-rich meal of plant-based, low-packaging food with gluten-free options. Followed this week by the Blue Moon Music House, our monthly open mic at 7 p.m. We are currently short-staffed and could very much use your help keeping the church clean. Could you perhaps vacuum, mop, dust, clean the kitchen or bathrooms, take out the trash or recycling? Then please talk to me or let the office know. We have a list here and you can just sign up and help out as we transition there in our custodial staff. A week from today, one of you will be the lucky winner of a dinner for two anywhere in the world. Yay! Oh, it's the other way around. Okay. Well, you couldn't really see. Yeah, that's the Southern Hemisphere. Thank you. Yes. So wherever you might want to go, yeah, sideways to the moon, who knows? Flight and hotel included. So, and today, during the community luncheon, one of you will walk away with $200. Well, that's provided you have already purchased at least one raffle ticket. Get your tickets from Lorraine Ellis. Where are you, Lorraine? Right over there. On our website, you can get it too, or by using the QR code on those green raffle posters throughout the church. Are you interested in making a home at Concord UU? Then our next Exploring membership group begins on Wednesday, January 21st at 6 p.m. In this 4-session group, you will learn about each other's spiritual journeys, about Unitarian Universalism, and about how we function as a congregation, including a special building tour highlighting our 200-year history. We already have 11 folks registered, and we would love to welcome more. Again, we start Wednesday, January 21st at 6 p.m. You can sign up either talking to Lorraine Ellis or go on our website. Each week, we light our chalice to set this time apart and to mark it as sacred. If you're at home and have a candle or chalice ready, I invite you to light it now as Everett lights our chalice here in the sanctuary.
By thy light glowing, show to us beauty, vision, and joy. Rise up, O flame, rise up, O flame, show to us beauty, vision, and joy, beauty, vision, and joy.
Please repeat after me. It is a blessing to be. It is a blessing to be here. It is a blessing to be here now.
It is a blessing to be here now.
It is a blessing to be here now together.
It is a blessing to be here now together. We gather today in a world that is loud, a world that tells us to speak first, react quickly, defend our position, prove our point. A world that rewards certainty more than curiosity, volume more than wisdom, and quick judgment more than deep understanding. And so, simply arriving here, choosing to pause, to breathe, to be present, we're already practicing something somewhat countercultural. Today we explore listening. Not the shallow listening of polite nods while our minds prepare our next response, but the courageous listening that makes room for another human being to be real. Listening in its deepest form is not passive, it is not weakness, it is not surrender. Listening is an act of resistance. It resists the forces that divide us into tribes and labels. It resists the impatience of a culture that believes speed equals truth. And it resists the dehumanizing impulse to reduce a person to one opinion, one mistake, one moment. To deeply listen, to listen deeply is to declare you are more than a category. You are more than my assumptions about you. You are worthy of being heard. Listening is also a spiritual practice, one that can soften the clenched fist of certainty and open us to transformation. Because if we listen honestly, we will not leave unchanged. Something in us will shift. A prejudice loosened, a heart widened and opened, a story reimagined. And there is power in that shift. For when we listen to those who have been ignored or silenced, listening becomes justice. And when we listen across difference, listening becomes bridge building. And when we listen, even when it's uncomfortable, then listening becomes courage. And when we listen with love, listening becomes a form of hope. So may this hour be a sanctuary from the noise. May it be a place where we practice holy attention. And may our listening here and beyond these walls become an offering, a quiet, steady resistance to fear, to cruelty, to division, and a faithful commitment to the world we long to build. Please rise again in body and spirit as we sing number 1008 in our teal hymnal, When Our Heart is in a Holy Place. When our heart is in a holy place, when our heart is in a holy place, we are blessed with love and amazing grace. When our heart is in a holy place, when we trust the wisdom in each of us, every color, every creed, and we see our faces in each other's eyes, then our heart is in a holy place. When our heart is in a holy place, when our heart is in a holy place, we are blessed with love and amazing grace. When our heart is in a holy place, when we tell our story from deep inside, and we listen with a loving mind, and we hear our voice
Please be seated. Unless, of course, you're young in age or young at heart, in which case I invite you to come forward for a time for all ages with Dory up here. Come on forward. I know some of you up there in the balcony. Come on down, come on forward. Anyone who is still able to sit down and get back off the floor, come on, join us here.
All right, we'll wait for them to come. I know they're here. There's one. There's another one. Welcome. I am really excited for this time for all ages. I'm going to come down here. In the spirit of listening, last Sunday before service, we had something called the Family Meet and Greet Breakfast, and we invited families to come and eat breakfast and talk to us. And the topic and the question that I asked for me to listen was, what do you need? And some of you were here to answer those questions, but what I would like to do today is to invite the rest of the congregation into that same practice of listening that I did last week, and invite you to listen with not only your ears, but your hearts and your spirits and your memories of what it might have been like to be a parent, and listen to what the parent said in response to the question, what do you need? After I've shared the responses, I'm going to invite some of my friends up front. If you have more things you'd like to share, I will give you a chance to do that. Okay. Thank you, Everett, for your patience. In response to the question, what do you need? I asked the parents, what do you need in the immediate now? And what do you need that feels totally outside of the realm of possibility? And these are the responses that I received in no particular order to that entire question. A car, community, purpose, physical activity, a sense of purpose, a home near church, vacation, a sabbatical from work, a real vacation, travel with my family, more time with my family, parent support group, male connections, connecting with friends, music and vocational skill lessons for the kids, friend connections, bonding with my partner, mentors to guide us as adults, friends and camaraderie, people to listen. Help with pickup and drop-off for my kids. Kids to help with household responsibilities. Help with laundry, dishes, and cooking. A handy person to do things around the house monthly. Help with making dinner and prepping food. Healthy food for my family. Healthy cooked dinners and lunches. Help with meal prep or the time to do it. Healthy food. Food prep. People to babysit and watch my kids for a couple hours during the week. A full day to myself with just my partner. Trusted caregivers for my kids. Time to connect with my partner. Time, open childcare once a month. Time to take care of myself physically and mentally. Time to pursue my hobbies. More selfish time. 4 hours to myself. Time with my partner. Time in nature. A kid-free, work-free minute. Minute. Or maybe 100 minutes. 1 day off a month. Time to talk to my spouse. Reliable babysitting. Babysitting. Time to dedicate to reading, exercise, hobbies, community service, spirituality, work-life balance. Time away from the responsibilities of my children. spur of the moment childcare for appointments, overnight trip away, more than 24 hours in a day. Time alone. Time. That's what the parents said. And then I have a few things the kids said, and then I know that there maybe are some more that want to share. Kids said, I want kids to play with the adults. Lots of people making friends. To do the dishwasher by myself. I need a friend to understand me. Enough money to buy a toy so I can enjoy myself. People to be there for me. Art, music, and food I like. Time with friends. And I invite now anyone sitting up here, if there's anything you would like to add to that list for the congregation who is practicing listening to what you need, is there anything you would like them to know? Anything you need? A dishwasher, Everett says. Everett needs a dishwasher. Hazel. Hazel needs some time away from her parents sometimes. Because sometimes they're annoying. Does anyone else have anything they'd like to share while our congregation is listening? A vacuum cleaner. Everett needs a vacuum cleaner. Thank you all for listening to what the parents have to say. I am hopeful that maybe for some of you, that listening sparks something in you. And if it does, please come see me. And I would love to talk about how we can listen deeper to our families.
This very much strikes me as sort of the joys of being a village. And so we will actually explore that more fully as a whole month. In April, we will look at what does it feel and be like to be a UU village. And that involves the elders, it involves the kids, it involves everyone, the young adults, everyone in between. But we're not in April yet, so please rise in body or spirit if you're up front here, so that we get to sing your children's blessing as you leave for your Young Explorers program. Please join me if you know. May our minds be open to new learning. May our lips bring truth into the world. May our hearts know love and our hands do the work of justice as we go our way in peace. As we go our way in peace. May our minds be open to new learning. May our lips bring truth into the world. May our hearts know love and our hands do the work of justice as we go our way in peace. As we go our way in peace. We now turn to the joys and the sorrows we carry individually and as a community. Will you take a breath with me? As we surrender to this moment, let us notice our body resting, grounded, supported by the earth. And as the piano begins to play, you're invited to come forward, light a candle or place a stone at the table to your right, or add a note to the Holding Our Grief wheel. And if you wish, come to the microphone, tell us your name, and share briefly from your heart so the congregation can hold you in love. And I'd like to remind us all that Joys and Sorrows is a time to focus on your emotions. If you want to share information about social justice issues or other events, please reach out to me so we can find a good time during an upcoming service to integrate your thoughts and concerns.
My name is Krista, and I lit a candle of hope for my friend Karen, who has been going through a really rough time. Her husband passed away a year ago, and she has temporarily lost custody of her daughters. And she is unemployed right now. She's looking for work. She's also struggling physically. So she lives out in Northwood. If anybody knows of any kind of employment that she could do, if you could talk to me, thank you.
My name is Tondi McGowan, and I return with another candle for my friend Suzanne Mueller, who has cancer. The good news is she made it to her, I believe, 61st birthday tomorrow. So I have her in my heart, and I hope you will too. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Karen Thomas. I lit a candle for my husband, Craig, who was laid off. Just hold him in your thoughts as he navigates what comes next.
My name's Donna. I just feel so much sorrow about what happened in Minneapolis, and I consider myself an activist, and I shouldn't be embarrassed to say that. So just lots of positive energy going toward people standing up for what we believe.
My name's Martha May, and when Michael said joys and sorrows today, it hit me in a different way. And what I wanted to share was something that we all share, and that's the joy and the sorrow of living in this human body. And I certainly partake of both joy and sorrow on that account. And I'm particularly challenged right now with the challenging part. So I join all of you with great compassion in terms of challenging aspects of living in the human body.
And I invite Janet to light one final candle on behalf of those who are not with us today or who chose to remain seated. Sue Hale de Sèvres writes to us, I need a positive thought for my half-brother, Jeff Hackett. Jeff is recovering from treatment for prostate cancer. He thinks he's cured, but he's not sure. He lives in Sarasota, Florida, and he's also a veteran, so he has to go to St. Petersburg, where the VA is. That is an hour-and-a-half drive for him. I hope he is cured, but when I talked to him on the phone, he did not sound so good. Whether your joys or sorrows have been named or remain in the silence of your heart, know that you are not alone. May we hold our earth in our hearts with joy in her nature, in awe of her majesty, power, and resilience, taking responsibility for the hurts that we have caused her. Will you take another breath with me? This week, we hold in love Bevan's son, Brian. Please join me now in a sung meditation, a musical meditation, Fear Not the Pain. Fear not the pain, let it sway fall back into the earth, for
other seas. Fear not the pain, let its weight fall back into the earth. For heavy are the mountains, heavy are the seas.
May that be so, and amen. Our reading this morning are excerpts from reflections offered on Adam Grant's podcast, Rethinking, by Daryl Davis, a black jazz musician, and Jeff Scoop, once the leader of America's largest neo-Nazi organization. Here's Daryl Davis. We don't convert people, you know. When you see my name in the media, it'll say, black musician converts 200 white supremacists or KKK people, whatever. No, I did not even convert one of them. Yes, I am the impetus for over 200 to convert themselves. And you've heard the expression, one's perception is one's reality, and that is so true indeed. Whatever somebody perceives is their reality, even if it's not real. It's their reality. You cannot change anybody's reality. You're going to get pushback. So if you want to affect change on somebody's reality, it's counterintuitive, but don't attack their reality. Offer them a better perception, or perceptions, plural. And if they resonate with one of your perspectives or perceptions, you've planted the seed and it ruminates in their mind. If it causes a cognitive dissonance and they try to find out why, and the next thing you know, it's the introduction, the introspection that does, oh, you know what? Maybe I better change my path, they might think. And with Jeff Scope here, it's very important to note, you know, this man was a commander of this organization for 25 years. He built it into the largest neo-Nazi organization in the country. He's responsible for recruiting a large number of people. So in that position, right, people looked up to him. You know when he got out? I had people I didn't even know, neo-Nazis emailing me, asking me, is this true? Did Jeff really leave? And some of them, you know, they want to leave too. But they came through me, and I sent them to Jeff. As a commander, Jeff brought a lot of people in. He has to sit around and debate because people looked up to this guy. You know, this was their commander. They joined this organization to serve him, right? And now he's coming and saying, hey folks, you know, I was wrong. Does he want to go and admit this? How is he going to look in their eyes now? Does he want to lose that throne of power, that seat of power? That took a lot of strength. Now that's the definition of courage, to come out and say, hey, I was wrong. This is not right. And then Jeff Scoop adds, we don't tell people they're wrong. As Daryl said, this is about seed planting. And if you go into these situations and expect somebody to do a full 360-degree turn in a snap of fingers, that is almost unheard of. And I mean, I have a couple of scenarios that I can think of throughout my whole lifetime where things happen that quick. But the vast majority, like the hundreds of people that we know that have left, it's a process. It takes time. Curiosity is a big part of it. I know when I first got out, they automatically think you flip to the other extreme. So I'm getting all these emails, what's the deal? Hey, did you really leave the movement? Are you Antifa now? Are you a communist now? And I'm stressing out at this point. I'm going, why does everybody think I'm Antifa? Why do they think I'm a communist? What am I saying that's making them think that? And they're getting really stressed out about it. And I start thinking, no, don't get angry. Answer them. No, I'm not Antifa. I'm not a communist. Why do you think that? You just start the conversation. And this is exactly what Darryl does. Not get angry, but try to understand them. So a lot of times what I found in those conversations with people that originally came at me hard, kind of hard is, wow, so I could leave the movement and still be a conservative or still be somewhere over here on the right, just not be a racist? And you're like, yes, that would be great. Or you can be on the left, or just don't go way out to the extremes. It doesn't matter where you land. You just don't be on those extremes. Don't hate people. And they're just like, wow, that's pretty cool. So then when they have those questions, if they're reaching out in the first place, there's probably some little voice in the back of their head going, maybe this isn't the right path that I'm on. And they're starting to kind of guess those things. And then Daryl Davis chimes in again. Yep, let me give you an example of exactly what Jeff is talking about. So one time I had this clan leader in my car. Remember, this is a black African-American musician, right? Jazz musician. He was a district leader, and he's in the passenger seat. I'm driving, and somehow we get on the topic of crime. And he used that figure of authority called they, right? They say. We never know who they is. He said, they say all black people are born with a gene that makes them violent. That's what he's telling me. And I said, well, what do you mean? And he said, well, who's doing all the drive-bys and carjackings in Southeast? He was referring to Southeast Washington, D.C., which is predominantly black and high crime ridden. I said, okay, it's black people. I said, but that's what lives there. You're not considering the demographics. Who's doing all the crime up in Bangor, Maine, or Concord, New Hampshire? White people, because that's where they live. He goes on, no, and the Concord part I added here, that wasn't when that has nothing to do with it. You all have this gene, the way black people are born. So my gene almost came out, but I maintained my calm, and I realized that was his reality. So how can I tell him something that's going to make him think? I can't give him any thesis from some psychologist or psychiatrist or some other person who studied this. He's not going to know this person. He's going to read, and he's not going to read the book or whatever. So I had to go where he was. And so I said, look, man, I'm as black as anyone you've ever seen. I've never done a carjacking or drive-by, so how do you explain that? And he didn't even think about it. He answered me like that. He said, your gene is latent. It just hasn't come out yet. How do you even bite into that? So I was speechless, just driving along. He's over there all smug, like, you got nothing to say. I had to think about it. So I used his figure of authority, they. I said, well, they say all white people have a gene that makes them serial killers. He says, what are you talking about? I said, name me 3 black serial killers. He couldn't do it. I said, just name me one. He couldn't do it. I said, Charles Manson, Jeffrey Dahmer, Henry Lee Lucas, John Wayne Gacy, Ted Bundy, David Berkowitz, Son of Sam, Alberto De Salvo, the Boston Strangler, and on and on and on. He said, Daryl, I've never killed anyone. I said, your genus latent hasn't come out yet. He goes, well, that's stupid. I said, well, duh, you are right, it is stupid, but it's no more stupid for me to say that than for you, than what you said about me. And he got very quiet. But I could almost hear the wheels in his brain spinning, and then he changed the subject. But within 4 to 5 months, he quit the Ku Klux Klan based on that conversation. And his robe and hood was the first robe and hood I ever got. So, I mean, it was a stupid analogy, but that's where I had to go. I didn't attack his reality. I gave him another perception. So that caused a cognitive dissonance, especially when the shoe was on the other foot. Our anthem this morning is by Leah Morris, an African-American musician, a mother of a young child. Many of us met in the music videos she posted during the COVID years. And she now resides in Germany, where she spent an exchange year during her high school, exposing her to different styles of music, including jazz, pop, and classical.
Keep your heart gonna keep my heart wide open. Though the waves wanna push me around, I've gotta keep my heart wide open till my faith brings me back to solid ground. We gotta keep our heart wide open. Though the waves wanna push us around, we gotta keep our heart wide open till our faith brings us back to solid ground. Brings us back to solid
All right, so settle in because we are going to go a little long today. Sorry about that, but sometimes you got to grind for a while. As demonstrated by our reading, the podcast Talking People Out of Hate offers a powerful and countercultural witness to the idea that listening itself can be an act of resistance and even a catalyst for transformation. Daryl Davis, as I hope you could sense, excels in a practice that defies easy moral categories. He listens to people who have embraced ideologies rooted in hate. Not to excuse those beliefs, not to endorse them, but to understand the human story beneath them. Over decades, this practice has contributed to dozens and dozens of people leaving white supremacist movements and sometimes literally handing Davis the robes or symbols of hate they once wore. The podcast reminds us that listening in this context is not passive or naive. It is profoundly resistant. It resists the dehumanizing logic at the core of hate movements, the idea that some people are beyond relationship, beyond redemption, beyond dignity. By listening, Davis refuses to mirror the very logic he is confronting. In conversations with Jeff Scoop, now no longer the prominent leader of that largest neo-Nazi organization in the US, we hear how listening disrupted certainty. Scoop describes how being treated with curiosity rather than contempt created cognitive and moral dissonance. Hate thrives on rigid narratives, on us versus them, on fear, on grievance. Listening introduces complexity. It creates cracks in absolutism. It makes room for doubt, and doubt is often the first step towards change. This is where listening becomes an act of resistance to hate itself. The conversation does not suggest that listening alone dismantles systems of oppression or replaces the need for accountability, justice, or structural change. Rather, it shows how listening works at a different but essential level, the level of human transformation. It resists the cultural impulse to reduce people to their worst beliefs and instead insists that identity is not destiny. For those of us shaped by a Unitarian Universalist commitment to the inherent worth and dignity of all persons, this offers both hope and challenge. Hope because it reminds us that even deeply entrenched views can change when met with relationship rather than reflexive rejection. And challenge because it asks us to consider whether we believe listening is only for the agreeable, or whether it is a spiritual discipline meant for the hardest places as well. Listening as modeled in Talking People Out of Hate is not about surrendering values. It is about grounding them. It takes courage to remain present when fear, anger, revulsion would be so much easier. It takes faith to believe that connection can loosen the grip of hatred more effectively than humiliation ever could. In a society increasingly shaped by polarization, Daryl and Jeff's stories offer a quiet but radical testimony that listening can be a form of moral resistance. It resists despair, it resists the assumption that people cannot change, and it resists the seductive simplicity of writing one another off. And perhaps most importantly, it resists the lie that hate is stronger than relationship. So how does someone like Daryl Davis open their heart to approach people who think he doesn't even deserve to exist and then decides to learn from them instead? He credits his experience as the son of a parent who worked for the Foreign Service. As he tells it, My dad's job with the US government was to go to a foreign country and improve relations between the foreign country's government and the US government. That's what a diplomat does, right? Is anyone listening out there? That's what a diplomat does. It's not, well, okay. I was around diplomacy all growing up. I just absorbed it, he says. So for me, it wasn't courage as much as it was curiosity. I wanted to see how these people think. If I'd grown up here in my own country and not gone abroad and been exposed to those things, would I be doing this work today? Maybe not. Maybe I'd be staying as far away from those people as I could. You stay on your sides of the tracks, and I'll stay on my side of the tracks, and we'll just go parallel, not interact. People ask me, he says, how come your parents didn't warn you about this? Certainly they knew about racism. Yes, of course my parents knew about racism. My parents were from Roanoke and Salem, Virginia, the seat of the Confederacy. They weren't allowed to drink from certain water fountains or use certain restrooms, and they had to ride in the back of the bus. So I'm glad they didn't tell me about it, and I'll tell you why. Suppose my parents had told me about racism before I had that incident with the bottle and the rock throwing. I'll tell you about that in a moment. Would I be wary of every white person I saw? Oh, I wonder if that's a white person that my parents were telling me about. If he's going to act like that, maybe I'd be a little leery. But as a result of not knowing and finding out that way, I became curious. Why is that person like that? But this white person is not like that. So I'm glad it worked out that way. The incident Daryl is referring to happened when he is in 4th grade. When I was in school abroad, Daryl recounts, all my classmates were from all over the world. This girl sitting at the desk next to me might have been from Czechoslovakia. This kid from Japan, that kid from Italy, the kid in front of me from Nigeria or Somalia, Kenya. To me, that was the norm for what school was supposed to be. So one of those times that I came back, I was age 10, 1968. I was in 4th grade. And I was one of 2 black kids in the entire school. There was a girl in 2nd grade and me in 4th grade. So consequently, all my friends were white. Several of my male friends were members of the Cub Scouts, and they invited me to join. I was the only black scout anywhere in the area. This was Massachusetts. And we had a parade along with several other organizations. The sidewalks were lined with nothing but white people waving and cheering as we're marching down the streets. Until we got to a certain point, when I began getting hit with bottles and soda pop cans and small rocks from just a small group of spectators off to my right. I turned to look to see what was hitting me, and I saw 4 or 5 people. I remember a couple of kids who I did not know and a couple of adults I assumed to be their parents. And they were throwing things. And my first thought was, oh, these people over there, they don't like the Scouts. That's how naive I was. Because I had no precedent for that behavior, It's all I could think of. It wasn't until my Cub Scout leaders came running, and they're all white, and they cover me with their bodies and quickly escort me out of this danger that I realized that none of my fellow scouts were getting this special protection. So obviously I had done something to incur their ire. And I kept saying, what did I do? I didn't do anything. Why are they doing this? And all they could do is kind of shush me and rush me along. Tell me to keep moving and everything would be okay. I did keep moving, but they never answered my question. And at the end of the march, when I returned home, my mother and father were cleaning me up, putting Band-Aids on me and asking, How did you fall down and get all scraped up? Because they hadn't been at the march. I told them I didn't fall. I told them exactly what had happened. And for the first time in my life, at age 10, my mother and my father sat me down and explained to me what racism was. At age 10, believe it or not, I had never even heard the word racism. I had no clue what they were talking about because that word and that behavior was not in my world. This is all Davis talking, right, Daryl? And I didn't believe my parents because my 10-year-old brain could not process the idea that someone who had never seen me, never spoken to me, knew nothing of me, would want to hurt me for no other reason than the color of my skin. It made absolutely no sense to me. And to prove to them that they were wrong and I was right, I pointed out the fact that my friends, my fellow scouts, my schoolmates, my friends overseas did not look any different than those people over there on the sidewalk. Same color. So color obviously had nothing to do with the reason why they were targeting me. I still didn't know the reason. This is 1968. Martin Luther King Jr. was assassinated. I remember it well. Every major city in this country burned with violence and destruction, all in the name of this new word I had learned called racism. So now I accepted the fact that my parents had not lied. This phenomenon does exist, but I didn't know why. And that's when I formed that question in my mind. How can you hate me when you don't even know me? And for the next 57 years, I've been looking for the answers to that question. One thing I've learned in my travels, Daryl shares, is this. Every human being wants 5 core values in their lives. Everyone wants to be loved. Everyone wants to be respected. We all want to be treated fairly and truthfully. We all want to be heard. Finally, we want the same things for our families as everyone else wants for their family. If we can learn to apply those 5 core values when we find ourselves in an adversarial situation, he says, or in the culture or society in which we are uncomfortable or unfamiliar, I will guarantee that your navigation of that situation, that culture, that society will be much more smooth, much more positive, and much more productive. A lot of hot topics out there, he says. It doesn't have to be about race. It could be about anything. Abortion, nuclear weapons, Gaza and Israel, Russia and Ukraine, you name it. And sure, there are going to be people on all sides, regardless of the color of their skin, who will go to their grave being hateful, violent, and racist or anti-Semitic, what have you. I don't give up on those people, because I've seen some of them come back to me and apologize. I've put some of them in the hospital when they put their hands on me. I've had to fight, violence is not my thing that I go to first, but if I feel under physical attack, I'm not gonna sit there and take it. I've put people in the hospital, he says. I've put people in jail, and some of those people have come back to me and apologized and have later changed. Not all of them. Some of them have died and gone to their grave feeling that way, and that's fine. But I don't give up on them. I move them just down the list of my priorities. This is hard stuff, to not give up. Even when someone is threatening you, is judging you, is negating your worth and dignity. And yet Daryl is clear that not giving up does not imply concordance. As he says, I will sit there and listen to somebody spew their white supremacist stuff. I don't respect what they're saying, but I respect their right to say it. It's my choice, whether I want to believe it or not, or whether I want to comply with it or not. And I expect them to respect my right to give my rebuttal if I have a rebuttal, which may not agree with them, but I want to hear what I have to say. So why should I expect them to hear what I have to say if I refuse to hear their premise? In other words, if you want people to listen to you, you have to be willing to listen to them. If they don't feel understood, they're not going to want to understand you. So what's the worst advice that people give for talking to people who disagree with you? The podcast host asked both Daryl and Jeff. To argue, to escalate was Jeff's response. And Daryl counseled, the worst advice is if you don't like something, to ignore it. There are things that you can ignore, like a headache or a belly ache, because it will go away eventually. But anti-Semitism, racism, discrimination, it's more like a cancer. If you ignore it, it metastasizes and spreads. So let's not ignore it. Let's address it. Let's not get furious. Let's get curious. So what do you do when someone pushes your button? How do you avoid losing your cool? Well, if you're letting someone else get under your skin and you're getting angry, you're giving away your power to them. You're empowering them by doing that, Jeff explains. If I'm letting this person get me angry, that costs energy. That's giving them my energy. And if you can look at it like that, to put it in that perspective, it's very helpful, I think, he says. And here's Daryl's closing advice for us all. Find your line. Jeff and I are on the front lines. We are out there with these people, so to speak. Some people, they can't do that. They cannot bring themselves to sit down with a KKK member or a neo-Nazi. I can't sit with those people. I'm afraid of them, or I'm afraid I might punch them out. They just irritate me or whatever. Got it, he says. You don't belong on the front line. All right. Maybe you can go and be on the back line. Maybe you can be more on the sideline. Maybe you can be online. Find the line where you most feel comfortable, all right? And participate, he nudges. Because we all have to work together. There's no line that you can be on that is not as any more important than any other line. We all have to work together, put all these lines together, and that's how we create a great society. Just find your line. He read my mind and anticipated the theme for next Sunday's service, titled, Your Line in Resistance. In the meantime, good luck practicing your listening. May it crack open some doors. May it model the power of love and relationship over hate. May it be so. Amen and Ashe. Thank you for your generous support of last week's outreach offering to support the Freedom to Read Foundation. Today's community plate will support Open Democracy, founded in 1997 by a group including Doris Granny D. Haddock, famous for walking across the country to promote public funding of public campaigns. The nonprofit works across partisan lines and is dedicated to fair redistricting and protecting the freedom to vote. Examples of nonpartisan educational efforts in New Hampshire are the Open Democracy Book Club that has 800 members. High school voter registration drives are held around the state because less than 16% of eligible 18-year-olds are registered to vote. Let's change that. Can you be a part of changing that? That number falls well short of the 80% registration rate for voters aged 35 and older. Our morning offering will now be gratefully received.
to every soul and nation comes the moment to decide. In the strife of truth with false, for the good or evil side, then to stand with truth is noble when we share its wretched crust. Ere that cause bring fame and profit, then 'tis prosperous to be just. Though the cause of evil prosper, yet 'tis truth alone is strong. Though its portion be the scaffold, and upon the throne be wrong, then it is the brave one chooses, while the coward stands aside, till the multitude make virtue of the faith they have denied.
May we be transformed by our giving. May the world be transformed by our gifts. Please rise in body or spirit for our closing hymn, Coming With Me, from our new digital hymnal. When it's dark, light a candle for kindness. When it's dark, like a candle with love. When it's dark, light a candle for me and for you, like a candle. Its light will see us through. Come with me, let's shine a light, for in our hands lies hope tonight. Come with me, the path is clear, a land of hope.
Go out into the world in peace. Honor one another. Listen with an open heart. Stay curious. Have courage. Be kind. Embrace the mystery. Welcome awe. And live always the way of love. I now invite you to extinguish your chalice at home as Brian, can you do it? Brian extinguishes our chalice here in the sanctuary. Please join me in reading aloud the words on our screen. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of this faith we share, the warmth of community, the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again. Now please join me in singing our unison benediction, and if you're comfortable joining hands or elbows, go ahead and reach out, and if not, reach out with your heart to all of us, worshiping with you, knowing that you are not alone.